Give me some volume and go full screen.
What you know now, do you wish you had a third term? You know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony, I'd be fine with that.
We know he wasn't really running the country.
Yeah.
We used to think he was actually running the country, and now they're like, no, he didn't even see those executive orders. That was all auto-pen.
Divorce rumors continue to escalate for the Obamas. Hopefully they can settle it like men. Terrible that you would applaud that.
Barack Obama didn't merely retire. He transformed into a media icon, swapping the Oval Office for streaming sets and ocean view estates. Now, he's releasing bestsellers and dispensing advice from a pedestal of contradictions. Yet, Joe Rogan and Greg Gutfeld aren't impressed. They pierce the polish to reveal a legacy heavy on image and light on action. It's a fierce critique where charisma meets scrutiny, and somehow he still secures another production deal.
Can I get a glass of water? I'm serious. I'm thirsty. Can I get a glass of water? This is not a prank. You never seen it?
No.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Oh,
it's amazing.
No.
He gets a glass of Flint tap water, and I swear to God, he drinks it like this.
Problem is solved?
Bullshitting the world. Watch this.
Can I get some water? I really did need a glass of water. This is not a stunt.
Usually when something isn't a stunt, you have to say
It's
that.
100% a stunt. When was the last time a president stopped a speech to ask, can I get a glass of water? What? They would never do that. They would have water ready for him. No, you bring water on stage with you.
Is Obama gay, needing attention over an old letter? What? I should read that again. Anyway, no, we'll just keep going. The New York Post obtained a redacted portion of a handwritten letter the former president sent to his then college girlfriend, Alex McNear. Alex, eh? Back in 1982. He talked about his, quote, androgynous mind and wrote, and I'm quoting Obama here, I make love to men daily, but in the imagination.
Barack Obama stepped into history carrying a pen, a teleprompter, and the calm certainty of a man who believed hope could steer a nation. For 8 years, he delivered speeches that felt profound, but often landed like elegant motivational posters. His presidency resembled a TED Talk with Secret Service protection, slick, polished, and largely hollow. Beneath all the soaring rhetoric, tangible results were scarce. Yet, every doubtful look still drew applause as if he just unveiled a cure for cancer.
Michelle Obama surprised fans on our new podcast by saying her pet peeve about her husband is that he's chronically late. For example, we're still waiting on him to admit he's from Kenya. And as for Barack's pet peeve about Michelle, he's mad that she keeps leaving the toilet seat up. When she cleans it. When she cleans.
Joe Rogan prowls like a shark in scent-filled waters, cutting through nostalgia with the untamed logic only he can unleash. If you've ever wrestled a bear on mushrooms while debating quantum physics in a sauna, you've basically joined his podcast. He examines Obama's legacy and doesn't see a statesman. He sees a smooth-talking entertainer who scored a Netflix deal without ever landing a punchline. From the outset, Rogan knew this wasn't clarity. It was political interpretive dance. Plenty of motion, no substance.
He was roasting Trump in the audience, and you could see Trump in his head going, okay, I'm going to run now. Like, that might have been the thing that got him to run.
No one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Did we fake the moon landing? What really happened in Roswell? And where are Biggie and Tupac?
That one moment where Obama was talking to him might be the reason why Trump was like, I'll show you.
Greg Gutfeld enters with that signature smirk that says it all, relax. I'll dismantle your legacy with sarcasm and a Red Bull. And Obama handed him every weapon. Here's a man who won a Nobel Peace Prize before settling into the Oval Office, then spent years ordering drone strikes across the Middle East while Hollywood hailed him like royalty. It's like watching a self-styled pacifist claim a UF seatbelt by default then stormed the octagon swinging a steel chair, cheered on by a choir of applauding reporters.
President number 44 wants to help the left censor more. Former President Obama, if that's his real name, is launching a campaign to stop the spread of disinformation, which he called a real challenge for our democracy. And also for his former Veep, who's challenged by questions like, what's my name and why am I nude in the Rose Garden?
Joe Rogan tears into foreign policy like a pit bull sinking its teeth into a pair of overpriced Italian loafers. He's not just dissecting diplomacy, he's exposing it like a UFC commentator, watching a fighter tap under a relentless barrage of strikes. When Rogan examines Obama's infamous red line in Syria, he sees what a survivalist sees in a broken compass. Useless, yet still dangerous. The man threatened a dictator with all the gravitas of a school principal warning a kid about cutting the lunch line. Spoiler alert, Assad didn't even blink.
Obama said he was a jackass.
The young lady seems like a perfectly nice person. She's getting her award. What's he doing up there? He do that? He's a jack.
It's like, oh, really? Well, you.
It was about the Taylor Swift thing.
Now, all this stuff.
That guy's a jacket. Like, it wasn't even that harsh of an incident. And he said it privately, and I think somebody heard it. I don't think he said it to be public.
I'm assuming all this stuff. Where's the pool? Come on, guys. Cut the president some slack.
Oh, here it is.
Seems like a perfectly nice person. She's getting her award.
Why would he do that?
He's a jack. No.
Gutfeld tears into the economy like it's the driest turkey at Thanksgiving, dragging out that infamous shovel-ready jobs promise and turning it into a full-blown Broadway farce. Shovel-ready. What was really ready was the public's appetite for poetic nonsense. The recovery stumbled out of the 2008 wreckage with a hangover made of campaign slogans. But hey, if success means saying recovery summer without cracking a smile, Obama nailed it. Rogan can't help but laugh watching him play Wall Street while pretending to save Main Street, showing up at Goldman Sachs events like a roadie missing his guitar but still trying to rock. He bailed out the banks, let homeowners sink, then strutted on stage like he taught America to swim. A political version of robbing your neighbor and getting a thank you card. Then Gutfeld slices into healthcare with surgical sarcasm. Obamacare, hyped as his crown jewel, sold like a miracle cure until it revealed itself as a playground of medical chaos, promised universal care, delivered a DMV-style choose-your-own-adventure nightmare. The website launched with such a disaster it made MySpace look like Amazon. Yet Obama grinned through it all like a wedding DJ oblivious to the speakers blazing in flames.
Let's admit it, America. We miss Barack Obama.
Juan does.
There he is. In a recent speech, he said he had no real scandals in his White House, a jab at Trump.
We didn't have a scandal that embarrassed us. I know that seems like a low bar. Generally speaking, you didn't hear about a lot of drama inside our White House.
No drama. So to quote the TSA officer whose dog just sniffed my carry-on, let's unpack this. So why didn't you hear much about O's White House? Well, who was brave enough to look? There was never a cozier relationship between a president and the media.
Joe plunges headfirst into the cultural chaos. Under Obama, America didn't just drift into identity politics, it cannonballed straight into a pool of Tumblr hashtags. Rogan, master of uncomfortable truths, can't ignore how the man who promised unity ended up dividing everyone into more groups than a Whole Foods snack aisle. Unity? Forget it. Gutfeld dismantles the notion that grasping Obama's genius takes anything less than surviving an hour of polished emptiness without dozing off. Joe then attacks the surveillance state, a spy-hungry nightmare that grew under Obama like dystopian fan fiction. The NSA wasn't just chasing terrorists, they were practically tracking Grandma's banana bread recipe. The man who campaigned on transparency built a digital panopticon and handed the deep state the keys with a wink. Yet the crowd cheered as if he delivered freedom instead of a wiretap.
During this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy. Boy.
Really? Did you have a high opinion of him before?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did, just as an intelligent person. Right. But watching him just straight up lie about Trump, the thing that got me was that very fine people thing, the white supremacist thing. They just kept trying to say that he was a racist.
Who said that there were very fine people on both sides of a white supremacist rally.
which is this thing that I think worked in like 2017.
Yeah.
You know, I think it worked back then. I don't think it works anymore.
Greg grabs his legacy paintbrush and splatters sarcasm like Jackson Pollock on a White House portrait gone rogue. He tears into the Iran deal, a foreign policy Vegas bet on a rigged roulette wheel. You hand billions to a regime, shouting death to America, and walk away, grinning like you just scored backstage passes to common sense. Gutfeld imagines Obama shaking hands with the Ayatollah blindfolded, pen in hand, while diplomats follow entirely different scripts. Then comes the immigration piata. This is the man who deported more people than any predecessor while spinning speeches that sounded like activist lullabies. Rogan pictures Obama standing before the Statue of Liberty, preaching hope, then pulling a trapdoor out from under thousands of dreamers. It wasn't sanctuary. It was smoke, mirrors, and a press release dressed as a promise.
We've talked a lot about how the Democrats are trying to find the answer to Trump. They're trying to find the analog to him. But part of Obama's comments, too, he said, stop looking for the quick fix. Stop looking for the Messiah. You have a great candidates running races right now. Just focus on what you have in front of you.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, if you listen to Obama and you look at these inorganic protests, they say you have to have courage, rally, act, resist. But they don't. For what? What is the actual issue? You know, when Trump owns every issue 80-20 by almost every metric, from the economy to crime to immigration, where are you? The high ground maneuver of common sense has relegated it into more extreme measures. Ask Obama, okay, where do I apply this courage? You know, what space do I park it in? Should I double down on trans dudes in women's sports? Should I back the attacks on?
Gutfeld swoops in on Obama's celebrity bromances. From Bianca to Spielberg, the man wasn't governing. He was collecting photo ops like the prom king of globalist galas. Every state dinner played out like the Oscars, only with slightly more nuclear codes on the table. Greg pictures Obama rehearsing speech cadences in front of a mirror, candle flickering, Tom Ford in the air. This wasn't leadership, it was curated aesthetic governance, with a jazz playlist and a fact checker on call. Joe doesn't forget Chicago, where Obama cut his political teeth while pretending not to notice spiraling violence, failing schools, and generational poverty in his backyard. Rogan calls it like it is. You don't fly over a crater and call it a garden. Chicago had everything Obama claimed to care about while he raised campaign cash and played rhetorical jazz over the bodies. Gutfeld then slams the climate change charade. Obama flew to green conferences in Air Force One and left with tote bags of broken promises, promising green jobs like a kid handing out lemonade coupons in a blizzard, while emissions kept rising. Greg jokes he probably slapped a solar panel on his golf cart just to flex at Martha's Vineyard.
Obama, part of the reason it's hard to bring about change is because we live in a media environment that elevates falsehoods as much as truths and divides people as much as it brings them together. Through the Obama Foundation, we're working to empower and equip emerging leaders to tackle issues like the spread of disinformation. Of course, as plenty of people immediately pointed out, it was Obama's Democratic allies who cooked up the Russian collusion hoax. Or how about Nick Sandmann, hands up, don't shoot, don't say gay, or the Hunter laptop story. They're all stories where the public was shielded from the truth with help from the Democratic-friendly legacy media, who try to diss any information that threatens their narrative. And by narrative, I mean load of cow dung.
Rogan unloads a haymaker on Obama's post-presidency glow-up. Now a global influencer with a podcast and production empire, preaching responsibility from a seaside penthouse. It's like watching a man who sold his soul for the spotlight, hawking inspirational merch to old fans. You can't warn about rising seas while sipping mojitos 5 stories above Atlantis. Greg jumps in on the critique. Obama had a historic chance at unity, at healing, at being truly post-racial. Instead, he sprinkled division like Parmesan cheese, delivering philosopher-style speeches while ghostwriting Twitter mob manuals. It wasn't progress, it was branding Dents as morally bankrupt, turning poetic guilt into policy. Disagree with his healthcare plan? Suddenly you were 3/5 of a citizen in his eyes. Rogan doesn't miss the arrogance, the subtle smirk, the professorial glare. It wasn't confidence, it was Harvard swagger. IQ assumed, accountability outsourced. Obama treated every question like an inconvenience unless it came from Vanity Fair or Ivy League interns. Criticism? His skin was thinner than the 2010 economic recovery graph.